one of Roosevelt's programs, the National Youth Administration, NYA. It was back in the days of the Depression. I came to Charleston, and the place that I found to stay was the YWCA. That was back in 1939.
I lived in the East End, and in the summertime we went to the Y to go swimming. The East End girls would go. That was the only pool around here. There was a pool at the YMCA, but that was for boys. The one at the YWCA was for girls. And we would go there to go swimming in the afternoons. Only it wasn't called swimming, it was called a plunge. We went for a plunge, and it was required that we wear their bathing suits, not ours.
What did they look like?
Well, they were gray wool. They had no shape. They covered us, and that was about it.
And I'm like Ruth, I learned to swim at the Y, early on. And I can remember the bathing suits, but the main thing I remember is that they were so itchy.
Yeah,
and these
they
were
were
wool suits, and they were very, very itchy.
And very ugly.
I couldn't remember where I ate when I lived there. Did they have a cafeteria?
There was a cafeteria, and it was on the first floor on the Y.
Okay, then that's probably where I
It was
ate.
in the basement, because at that point the men couldn't go upstairs.
Yeah.
So it was in the basement.
Okay. That
The pool was in the
helps
basement.
me out a little bit, because I didn't know where I ate. I didn't remember.
I came to Charleston from Hinton in 1947 and wanted to find a teaching job. So I came to this big city to get that. I lived with my cousin, Mabel Eshon. She had a missionary coming. She wanted me out of the house, so I went to the Y and stayed 2 nights, and I'll never forget that because it was a safe haven for me, at a place where I had to go in a hurry. That was the only place to go in a situation like that.
My first experience was in 1935. The Y had a wonderful cafeteria in the basement. And I went to Charleston High School. And if we had an extra 50 cents, we could go over there and get a full lunch instead of eating in the cafeteria of Charleston High School. Then later on, in the late 30s, early 40s, I lived on South Hills, and it was maid's night off on Thursday nights. And my mother was not much of a cook. And we often went to the YWCA cafeteria for dinner, as well as many of the other South Hills people.
The Y was a very important thing to me, and I immediately joined the YWCA life-saving program, and I became a lifesaver. So they asked me to be the lifeguard for their camp. So I went to camp for 2 weeks and was the lifesaver for the children. And I got this diamond ring while I was there. He presented me with this ring, and I said yes. So we made a date for the wedding. And so in the meantime, I played a lot of softball with the girls, and I stayed busy with the campers.
It was a comfortable, safe. I felt safe. It's a safe place to stay for young women.
It cost 15 cents for the plunge.